All right, so here we have a question. Find the area of the triangle. And I'm just going to rotate it. So my base and my height, my two legs are, like one leg is horizontal and the other one's vertical. So I'm just going to rotate it like that. Okay, and here the 11.4 is the base. In this case, it's the opposite side. And to figure out the area of the triangle, it's base times height divided by 2, and base and height are perpendicular. And the two legs of a right angle triangle are always perpendicular. So turn the two legs into base and height, and there you go. All right, so let's solve this. So here's our shape. We want to find the area of the triangle. The area of the triangle is going to be area of a triangle is base times height divided by 2. All right. Now we have the base, we just don't have the height. So let's figure out the height. Now I'm just going to label everything on here. This is our hypotenuse, right? It's always opposite the right angle. So if you walk away from the right angle, it's the side you smack into. It's the longest side of the right angle triangle. It's also the only side that doesn't contain the right angle, right? It doesn't touch the right angle, okay? There's no right angle here, no right angle there. This is the hypotenuse. All right, so I'm just going to write hypotenuse, or hype, right there. All right, opposite the angle that we're discussing is going to be our opposite side, right? So if we walk away from that angle, it's the side we smack into. The 11.4 is the opposite. All right, that leaves the other leg being the adjacent. Now remember, adjacent means beside. So this is our adjacent side. Okay. And it's beside the angle we're talking about. But so is the hypotenuse. So it's the angle it's the side that's beside our angle, just not the hypotenuse. All right, so we want to find the adjacent, and we're given the opposite. And opposite over adjacent is tangent. So we're going to use our tangent ratio. So tangent of theta is the opposite side divided by the adjacent side. Then I'm just going to fill in what we know. Right, theta is 37.05 degrees. So the tangent of 37.05 is equal to the opposite side, which is 11.4, divided by the adjacent side, which is b. Okay, so that's our unknown. I want to find b, so I'm going to do the old switcheroo. I'm going to use cross multiplication to replace the b with the tan 37.5, and we're just switching their places. All right, so we end up getting b is equal to 11.4 divided by the tangent of 37.05. All right, so handy dandy calculator time. 11.4 divided by 37.05 tangent is equal to 15.1001, let's say. I'm going to round it to 4 decimal places. So B is 15.1001, and the units are decameters. Damn. All right, so now we have the B, which is the height. Okay, so we have everything we need. We have the base, we have the height. We can now figure out the area of the triangle. All right. So the area of our triangle is the base, which is 11.4, which is given, times the height, which we just figured out, is 15.1001 divided by 2. All right, so I have the 15.1001 in the calculator already, so times the 11.4 divided by 2 is equal to 86.0749. But the 8's going to tell the 9 to round up to a 10. We're going to carry the 1, so it's going to be 86.0750. So it's going to be 86.0750 0.750. You don't have to write the 0, of course. And this is area, so it's decameters squared. All right, back to the program. Answer my handy dandy calculator right here. So 86.07. So 86.075. And I'm just not going to bother writing the 0. Space, decameters, D-A-M, and then square. So I'm clicking on that square button. All right, and then we click on the check button to check to see if we're right. And let's see. Yay! Totally right. All right, let's try another one. This one we're given the hypotenuse and we're given neither the base or the height. Here, let me rotate it this way. So I'm going to click on it, drag it, and then using the pinch to rotate, I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. That's a little bit too big. Here, let me just rotate it all the way around. Like that. All right, that's a little bit easier to see. So this is our right angle. So opposite the right angle is the longest side of the triangle, which is the hypotenuse. All right, it's also the only side that doesn't contain the right angle. So no right angle here, no right angle there. So this is the hypotenuse. So I'm just going to label that hypotenuse. I'm going to write HYP for hype. All right, and then opposite, this is our angle that we're talking about. So opposite that angle, it's going to be our opposite side. So I'm going to label that opposite. And that leaves this leg as being the adjacent. And remember, the adjacent is the side that's beside. Adjacent means beside. It's beside the angle that we're discussing. It's just not the hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is also beside our angle. All right. So I want to figure out, let's start off with the A. We know we are trying to find the adjacent. We know the hypotenuse. So adjacent over hypotenuse is the cosine. So I'm going to use the cosine ratio. So cosine of theta is adjacent over the hypotenuse. All right, then I'm going to fill in everything I know. So cosine of 13.34 degrees is equal to the adjacent, which is our unknown A, over the hypotenuse, which is 9.97 millimeters. 9.97. All right, to get the A alone, I'm just going to cross multiply the 9.97, or multiply both sides by 9.97. So I'm left with 9.97 times the cosine of 13.34 degrees is equal to A. And now it's handy dandy calculator time. So 9.97 times 13.34 degrees cosine is equal to 9.700989. I'm just going to copy that into the memory of the calculator. Then I'm going to figure out the B side. Okay, for the B side, it's the opposite, and we're given the hypotenuse. Opposite of hypotenuse is the sine ratio. So I'm going to use the sine ratio. So sine of theta is the opposite divided by the hypotenuse. Fill in what we know. So the sine of our angle, which is 13.34 degrees, is the opposite, which is our B side, divided by the hypotenuse, which is 9.97. All right, we're going to cross multiply that 9.97 out of there, and we're left with 9.97 times the sine of 13.34 degrees is equal to B. All right, and handy dandy calculator time. So 9.97 times 13.34 sine is equal to our b sine, which is 2.300369. That goes on forever. Okay, so our b, nope, you're not seeing that. So we get 2.3004, let's say, is equal to b. All right, I'm just going to label that on my diagram. So 2.3004 is the height, and the base, didn't write it, did I? Was 9.7. So 9.7010 was our A. All right, the area of a triangle is the base times the height divided by 2. Okay, so our base is our adjacent side. So 9.7010 times the height, which is 2.3004 millimeters divided by 2. Okay, so this number times the number that we put in memory times the 9.701, and then divide that by 2 is equal to 11.1579 millimeters squared. So 11.1579 space millimeters squared. All right, and let's check on the check button to check to see if we're right. Yay! All right, and that is it.